Yeah, and I reflect back on my journey. I took a lot of pride in my identity and my career.
Yeah.
I had run for office and won local office, election at local office. And so I put a lot of pride in that identity as well, and in my bootstrap identity that I did this. I've come from this. Now I'm here. And it's good to, I think there's a healthy sense of accomplishment but it's when we start moving into that pride or losing our identity in that. And I remember I was in my MBA program and a young woman was sitting next to me and she's like, wow, like you're a mom. Like I had little babies when I was doing my MBA and she's like, you're doing your MBA and you're so successful and you're superwoman. And I just remember like leaving that and I would tell that young woman a lot, something very different now,
Yeah.
right? Um, but at the time I'm like, I am superwoman. Wow, look at it. I got everything together. But really most of the time we don't, right? Most of the time we don't because we simply can't keep all of those balls in the air, or at least for a prolonged period of time. And what I found is we began to sort of, I think that there's a little bit of perhaps pride that seeps in, but it's, I'm in this space of career, or I'm in this space of mom, or I'm in this space of ministry leader. And the more that we get our identity sucked into that, the less authentic our lives become. And I think that's really what happened also for me in ministry. It's like I was this person in my career, I was this person in ministry, I was this person as a mom. And I was losing that true God given identity where all of those facets were parts of me, but I was getting pulled further away from the Lord's identity for me and into these things. And so ultimately, it's been a journey of what does the Lord say that I am? Who does he say I am? And this is a big theme right now in our culture is our identity and the fight for our identity, honestly. So going back to the word, and he calls us beloved daughter, right? He calls us friend. And so really getting back into the Lord, who have you made me to be? Because I believe, and the scripture says, like, we're marvelously made. His fingerprints are on us. He knit us together. We all have different gifts to serve. So I think it's coming back to the Lord through prayer and seeking, Lord, you've given me these different strengths and these abilities. And Lord, thank you that you've made me that way, but I'm submitting them to you. There's a submission element. And in the journal and discovering purpose, submitting your purpose is one of the big steps to say, this is for you, Lord. How do you want me to produce good fruit? I want my life to count for something because all of my accomplishments in career are not going to matter. Right. And so I think it's really seeking the Lord, and you've given me these gifts. I want to be your servant. I want to be a delight for you. And we get joy through that too. It's not that like we're suffering servants. He wants us to have joy as well.
Now, speaking of your journal, your gratitude journal, does it help kind of take us through the journey of finding our God-given purpose?
Yeah. So it's a 4-week journal. So it's over 4 weeks, day by day. And there's scripture aligned to 6 different categories, which kind of starts with joy. Where do we derive passion? What lights us up? And this is something even when you talk with your friends. For me, it was always education. And I do serve on my school board now. And I was a high school coach. It was young people. So even though I had my career, what lights you up when you speak, when you talk? And other people notice it more than you do, actually. Just like your whole being shifts when you're talking about that particular thing. So what brings you joy, but also what pulls at your heart? The Lord has, I think, created us with gifts to serve. And so where are there things that just tug at us where you can't just walk by that situation or that thing? Maybe you're just always an encourager who is speaking into people who might be suffering or people who might be having challenges. So where is that pull on your heart? And those are 2 major anchor points, but then it's discerning. So as you think about your day, how are you seeing how the Lord is moving you to use those gifts to be pulled into that service? And how is he opening doors or closing doors in those places of strength or those places of pull?
Why is it so? You mentioned like gifts and using our gifts and our passions to serve others. Why is that so important for us to really be intentional about using our gifts
Mhm.
to serve others?
Right. Well, the whole point of being here on this planet is to become more Christ-like. right? Is to be in service to other. And scripture says that. And that's not to say that needs is a vocation. That's not to say that if you're in the secular word for your career, you can still serve Christ. You can serve Christ in all things, and not everybody's called to ministry. But I think that scripture is very clear that we're not here to live a life completely for ourselves, that's wasting our life, that he's given us a calling to share in the Great Commission in different ways and to produce fruit. If you think about like all of the different scripture that talks about kind of our purpose on this planet, it's around producing fruit. It's becoming more Christ-like. It's about displaying the fruits of the Spirit. It's about having a positive impact and for the kingdom of Christ ultimately in the world.
So for a person who they feel like they've found what their God-given purpose is, right? And they're locked in, they're ready to serve.
Well,
Do purposes change? What happens if that purpose, I guess, changes over time, or do purposes change over time? And will we have to adapt, I guess, over time?
yeah. And I think that we see time and again that the moment that we feel comfortable in one spot, the Lord's moving us to the next, right?
Yeah.
I think that, so the book is called Design for Purpose, and originally it was going to be called Design to Grow, but now that's actually going to be my second book because Design for Purpose is sort of the foundation. But all throughout scripture, no one is left in one place for a super long time, right?
Mhm.
So I view purpose kind of through scripture as moving and flowing. And there are times of seasons, but I view it like a river. So for me, starting out as a high school coach was a nugget of who I am. So I think that we have really kind of core innate strengths that are part of identity. So I think that our core identity is God given. How he uses our identity, how he uses our strengths can vary over our life in our calling. So we're not called to be stagnant. We're called to be growing and moving in our impact. And often think though about the word saying to whom much is given, or to be faithful with little can be faithful with much. So scripture doesn't really talk about staying in one place for your whole life. So for me, starting out as a coach, starting out working with young people, now serving on my school board to have a positive impact on young people are parts of my core identity and parts of my core calling to work in the space of education and young people and coaching even in general. The Lord put me in my place of having a career in business, in org transformation, in change management, to develop skills to then serve people now at this point in my life. So it's going to move, it's going to shape, it's going to ebb and flow as the Lord uses you in different ways over your life.
Yeah, and I think every season we're going through something too. He uses everything. It's like we learn skills along the way that we can use in the new thing that he's calling us to. So it's not wasted, right? Sometimes you're like, well, you told me to do this and now you want me to do what? But he's going to use everything that you picked up along the way, all the knowledge, all the connections. It's going to be able to help you in that next chapter of your life. Definitely.
It's a little easier to see now in retrospect, but I think about young people. I'm working with a couple of teenagers who are actually helping me with a teen version of the journal. Because when you're speaking to a young person about their identity, and right now, kind of even like I was talking about my own life, young people are getting ready to embark on whether college or career. And I think that's where that sense of starting to lock into like, this is your template. This is what you need to be successful. Start so early on. That helping to cultivate a heart of following Jesus wherever he's leading, I think is so essential for young people in this generation because they don't have that perspective to look back like we do right now. They're just starting their journey. So helping them to depend on the Lord, to see where he's moving them, to understand how he's uniquely made them. And to your point, how each experience is shaping them for their calling and their own transformation in their life.
I love that. And I feel like that's much needed for the teens, especially as early as possible. Having these tools will help them so much more like in their adulthood. So yeah, I'm excited for that one too. So you said they're helping you to kind of write it?
Yeah. So, so the adult versions really kind of focus on the adult experience. So week by week, the exercises are focused a little bit more on taking stock in your life. And so for the young people, it's going to be more of a story. So So it's going to be a boy teen version and a girl teen version. And so we've already got our first draft. And so each one's different. So with a story relating more to like a high school experience. So it's aimed at like 13 to 18, roughly. And it's just the content's just slightly adjusted to be more in the language of young people.
Yes, I love that. Oh, you'll have to let me know when that's out.
Yeah.
So, what is one Bible verse that you love to share in relation to purpose, or it could just be in general that you always just find yourself coming back to?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's two. I think there's Jeremiah 29, right? But for I know the good plans that I have for you. But for me personally, it's right behind me. You can't read it here on the screen, but it's John 15:5. And ultimately, through my experience, I woke up one morning in my apartment and the Lord gave me John 15:5. I am the vine, you are the branch. And whoever remains in me will produce much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. And he gave me that verse and he gave me the image of green vine. And so that's why it's green vine coaching. And I actually do some coaching of other school board leaders in green vine education. So everything is around green vine and growth. And I really felt that he's called me that. I've been in this career of transforming organizations. Now I'm going to be in the business of transforming people. And the key is abiding in him, apart from him. And because particularly for me in my journey and being separated, to me, it's really the calling to remain in him, to abide in him and produce good fruit. Back to purpose, that we're not meant to be here to just live for ourselves, but we're here for something bigger, to have a bigger impact in the people around us and our world.